When chefs got humiliated on live TV, isn't about faces or flashy reactions. It's about pressure, pride, and the moments when confidence cracks under bright lights. In a faceless format, the focus stays on words, tone, and the raw tension of competition. You hear the silence after a mistake, the sharp pause before criticism lands, and the weight of public judgment. These moments linger because they're universal. Everyone has felt exposed, corrected, or doubted in front of others. Strip away the visuals, and the emotion still hits. Humiliation isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, sudden, and unforgettable. Long after silence fades. What really happens when the cameras are live and there's no second take? One small mistake, one misstep, and a chef's reputation can change forever. In this video, you'll uncover how live television pressure exposes even the most confident professionals, revealing moments viewers rarely think about. We'll break down why these humiliating moments hit so hard, how split-second decisions spiral into public judgment, and the hidden psychological toll behind the silence. Stay till the end to understand why these incidents stay unforgettable long after the broadcast ends. Welcome to a world where everything is on the line. Live TV, ka pressure, ek choti, si galti, or sab kuch badal jata. Before we talk about the moment things fall apart, it's important to understand the mindset chefs walk in with. These are not beginners guessing their way through a recipe. They arrive with years of training, long shifts in unforgiving kitchens, and reputations built on consistency. Confidence isn't arrogance here, it's survival. In professional kitchens, hesitation can ruin service, so chefs learn to trust their instincts completely. When they step onto a live TV set, that same confidence follows them, reinforced by past wins, applause, and the belief that pressure is nothing new. Before we talk about the shock of public mistakes, we need to look at expectations. Many chefs assume that cameras are just another layer of noise. They believe skill will overpower distraction, that muscle memory will carry them through. After all, they've cooked the same dishes hundreds of times. In their minds, the challenge isn't the food, but the clock. What they often underestimate is how visibility changes everything. A kitchen hidden behind swinging doors is very different from one surrounded by lights, silence, and millions of unseen eyes. Before we talk about reality hitting hard, consider how control shifts under cameras. In a restaurant, chefs control the environment. They know the layout, the team, the rhythm. On live television, their control disappears. Timers are unforgiving. Instructions are delivered mid-task. Equipment feels unfamiliar. Even the sound of their own movements feels louder. Confidence begins to wobble, not because they lack skill, but because their sense of command starts slipping. Before we talk about mistakes, it's worth noticing how pressure distorts time. Seconds stretch. Simple actions feel heavier. A step that normally takes no thought suddenly demands attention. The chef becomes aware of every movement, every breath. This hyper-awareness is where reality starts to clash with expectation. The chef who expected flow now feels interruption. The one who expected focus now feels exposure. Before we talk about humiliation, there's the silent realization. The dish isn't coming together the way it should. A garnish is rushed. A sauce is slightly off. Under normal circumstances, these flaws might be corrected quietly. Under cameras, they become permanent. There's no back of house, no reset. Reality hits harder because it's happening in real time, without filters or forgiveness. Before we talk about reactions, understand the emotional shift. Confidence doesn't vanish instantly, it fractures. Chefs push harder, trying to reclaim control, but that urgency often amplifies the problem. Hands move faster. Decisions become sharper, but riskier. The camera doesn't capture the internal battle, yet it defines the outcome. What viewers see as a collapse often begins as a desperate attempt to live up to expectations that no longer match reality. Before we talk about judgment, remember that live TV removes the safety net chefs rely on. There's no chance to step back, no private correction, no quiet recovery. Reality hits harder under cameras because every flaw is witnessed. Every pause feels longer, and every confident assumption is tested in front of the world. Before we talk about the words themselves, it's important to understand how public criticism feels under live cameras. In a normal kitchen, feedback is loud, rushed, and quickly forgotten. On television, every comment is measured, delayed, and delivered with purpose. Judges don't need to raise their voices. A calm sentence, spoken slowly, can carry more weight than shouting ever could. When those words land, they don't just correct technique, they question judgment, preparation, and identity. Before we talk about harsh remarks, notice how judges choose their language. Often, it's not an insult, but a pause before it. A look downward. A breath. Then, a simple line that cuts deeper than expected. Phrases like, "I expected more," or "This shouldn't have happened," sound polite. Yet they echo loudly because they're spoken in public. Chefs aren't just hearing feedback. They're hearing it alongside millions of viewers, all at once. Before we talk about humiliation, pay attention to the silence that follows. Silence on live TV is never empty. It stretches, it amplifies discomfort. When no one speaks, the chef fills the gap with doubt. That quiet moment becomes louder than criticism itself. The absence of immediate reaction leaves space for imagination, and imagination is rarely kind under pressure. Before we talk about response, understand that chefs are trained to react quickly, not to sit still. Silence forces them to wait, to stand with their mistake fully exposed. There's no chance to explain, no room to adjust. The judge's words linger, suspended in the air, while the clock keeps moving. Before we talk about memory, realize why these moments stay with viewers. It's not the insult, but the restraint. The controlled delivery. The pause afterward. Judge's key laughs initiate the impact, but it's the silence Josie at a bolty high, the unspoken judgment that makes public criticism feel heavier, sharper, and impossible to escape. Before we talk about visible breakdowns, it's important to understand how quietly they begin. Mental collapse on live television rarely looks dramatic at first. It starts with a single thought, a question a chef has never asked themselves before. Did I misjudge this? Am I losing control? Under normal pressure, these thoughts pass. Under live cameras, they stay. Before we talk about self-doubt, consider how unfamiliar pressure rewires focus. Chefs are trained to multitask, to think ahead, to move instinctively. But when doubt enters, instinct hesitates. Hands slow down. Decisions feel heavier. The chef starts checking themselves instead of trusting themselves. That pause, barely noticeable to viewers, is where confidence begins to erode. Before we talk about mistakes piling up, understand the psychological weight of being watched. Every move feels evaluated. Even silence feels judged. The brain shifts from execution to self-protection. Pressure casts psychological effect isn't just stress, it's overload. The chef is no longer cooking. They're performing under fear of failure. Before we talk about emotional reactions, recognize that chefs are conditioned to suppress emotion. Live TV removes that shield. When things go wrong, there's no private space to reset. Breathing becomes shallow. Time feels distorted. Small errors feel irreversible. The mind starts racing faster than the hands can keep up. Before we talk about what viewers remember, focus on the internal battle they never see. Self-doubt doesn't scream. It whispers repeatedly. It asks if past success was luck, if confidence was misplaced. In those moments, pressure doesn't just test skill, it challenges identity. The breakdown isn't loud or sudden. It unfolds in silence, through hesitation, and through a mind struggling to stay steady while everything else moves forward. Before we talk about algorithms and numbers, it's important to understand the human reason these moments spread so fast. Virality doesn't begin with shock. It begins with recognition. Viewers see more than a chef making a mistake. They see themselves. A skilled professional, confident moments earlier, suddenly exposed by one error. That contrast feels familiar, and familiarity travels faster than perfection. Before we talk about embarrassment, notice how relatable failure feels when it happens to someone accomplished. Chefs on live TV represent mastery, discipline, and control. When that control slips, it breaks the illusion people place on expertise. Relatable human failure reminds viewers that no amount of experience makes anyone immune to pressure. That realization creates an emotional connection stronger than admiration ever could. Before we talk about ego, understand how it's quietly built into competition. Confidence is necessary, but television amplifies it. Introductions, past achievements, and expectations inflate presence. When reality intervenes, the clash becomes unavoidable. Ego versus reality isn't about arrogance. It's about belief colliding with circumstance. Viewers sense that collision instantly. Before we talk about sharing, consider why people replay these moments. There's tension, silence, and an unresolved feeling. The chef isn't a villain or a hero, just human. That ambiguity keeps people watching again, sending clips, and discussing outcomes. The moment doesn't feel staged, it feels raw. Before we talk about lasting impact, realize that viral moments aren't remembered for humiliation alone. They spread because they expose something uncomfortable yet honest. The fall from confidence to vulnerability happens quickly, and that sudden shift mirrors real life. People don't share perfection. They share moments where ego meets reality, and reality wins. What stays with us isn't just the mistake, but how it sounded, the pause before a sentence, the shift in tone, the silence that followed. In a faceless story, a wall's pauses or tone carry the weight visuals usually do. Your imagination fills the gaps, making every moment feel closer and more personal. That's why these live TV moments linger long after the broadcast ends. If this breakdown made you see pressure and failure differently, hit like and subscribe for more stories that go deeper than the surface. Stay with us, because sometimes what you don't see is exactly what stays with you.